My name is Dan Choi. I was a lieutenant in the U.S. Army Infantry. I went to war in Iraq and I graduated from West Point with a degree in Arabic. I was kicked out of the military under Don't Ask, Don't Tell exactly 1 year ago, and so I'm celebrating my 1 year anniversary or birthday as a civilian. Last year I had the pleasure of meeting Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, not for the first time, but it was a special occasion enough that I wanted to give him a ring, and I got it back at the signing of the bill that did not fully repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. As you know, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is still in effect, so soldiers are still getting kicked out. We had an airman that was kicked out recently. My personal situation, of course, is not fully over yet either. I'm going to court, federal court, for protesting at the White House. I protested there 3 times, getting arrested. And I believe that this administration is making a grave mistake in limiting the areas, times, and manners that free speech should be allowed. And I am honored to say probably the 2 most eloquent words in the English language for anybody who fights for social justice: not guilty. And I intend to do that for the rest of my life, because I don't feel an ounce of guilt. I don't feel that anybody should be shamed or intimidated into not protesting, and I think that's what's happening here. The trumped up charges, as we've seen from all of the civil rights movements and progress movements in the past of our entire history, have served as an intimidation factor, not for me, but for the next person who wishes to make a statement in front of the White House to pressure their president and to fulfill their duty as a citizen. So for me to fight this, it's not for me. My situations are a foregone conclusion. I feel that my role in repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I've fulfilled whatever part that I could play. At this point, this is much more than that. This is about what our country, what free speech, what protest and petitioning government for redress of grievances, that's what this is all about. And I can't think of anything that's more critical and essential to a nation of laws, and that first law is that the individual citizen has the right to be free in this country.
I noticed you tweeted out something about David House.
David House is American hero.
Right, and he's being targeted for free speech right now.
And I think that our situations are exactly the same. Whenever a government tries to stifle the truth by censoring the people, we sometimes take a look at the people. And that's what's going on with Bradley Manning. People have been trying to scapegoat him as somebody who's crazy or somebody who shouldn't have gone to war, but I think that Bradley Manning is an excellent American soldier who did something as far as morality. Jus in bello. What the true mandate of an American servant of society is, he embodied through his act. It's no different from what Daniel Ellsberg did, the Pentagon Papers, and I wonder what this president is about to do to this new hero of American patriotism. He's not anti-war. I want to make sure that everybody knows that from the things that I've heard. This soldier signed up because he believed in this country, and when he saw things that were unbelievable and were being perpetrated by this country, he wasn't attacking this country. He was trying to teach this country what this mandate of service really was. And so I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with anybody who speaks up against injustice, against war crimes, against torture, and against the reprobate actions of any kind of powerful government that try to silence the people and tell them that power belongs to the powerful. Power belongs to the people on the street, and that is where the rights of this country to exist come from the people, not from the rulers.
Now, can I ask you if you think that the right wing in this country has been exploiting the situation with Bradley Manning to go after gays in the military at all?
You would think that with all the exploitation that comes from that segment of America, that we would have learned a little bit about how to deal with that. And I'm not afraid. I believe that there are many gay organizations and gay advocates and gay people who are afraid to talk about Bradley Manning because they're gay. And that's going back in the closet. I think when we see a soldier that did the right thing, a soldier that lived up to the mandate of soldier, we should speak up not as gay people or straight people or black people or white people or rich people or poor people or veterans or non-veterans. We should speak up as Americans because there's a person that's being tortured. And what do you do when your neighbor is getting hurt? I realize, as a gay advocate, that there are some people who would see a beaten man on the street, even if they're of their own community, and wonder this question: what would happen to me if I stopped to help that man on this dangerous street? Instead, we have to flip that question around and ask ourselves, what will happen to that man if I do not stop and speak up, if I do not stop and help? So I am absolutely honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with Bradley Manning and with all the people who speak truth.
Well, my final question is basically, you were in Moscow, you were in another country defending people's gay rights. Do you see the country that you are from, that you are a citizen, America, not being a good enough role model on gay rights and that having some kind of an impact in other countries?
It's a horrible role model, not only on gay rights, but on progress. Human progress has been stifled in this country for many reasons, and many people who are much better at political theory than I can talk about our federal system of government and the filibuster and many things. But what I blame is not our structural inadequacies, but our courage inadequacy. And I think that for activists, the only ingredient that is missing nowadays is the willingness to stick to your guns till the very day that you achieve what you set out to accomplish in the first place. Yeah, my parents came from Korea. They were born in war. My mom was an orphan. At 5 years old, she had to live with prostitutes and with alcoholics who were trying to escape the war. Members of my dad's family were stolen into North Korea. So my family knows about tyranny, and they know about the vicious cycle of hatred and divisive politics. I think that America, even after having served in its military, and my willingness to serve again, remains absolute. I think that when we fight for America, we sometimes have to tell America what it's doing wrong. When I went to Russia, and with any activism, we tried to show a mirror to the face of the ugly oppression so that they see their ugliness. And sometimes all you have to do is show that mirror in front of someone's face. For me, it was like a double-sided mirror, because we were showing the Russian government how this neo-Nazi oppression of gay people and the government-sanctioned oppression of gay people was so ugly, it looked this way. And to show them in their face, I'm sure, was embarrassing. And we would like to embarrass a government that is an embarrassment to its people. But for our country to look at it, we realized very clearly, when I came back home to America, I didn't feel like I was coming back to the bastion of freedom. If a week after coming back from Moscow, I'm getting arraigned and charged federally for protesting. I think that people all across the world, if they are looking for role models, they do not have to look to any one certain particular political party, any one particular historical narrative, one religion, one nationality or nationalism. They need to look deep down into their own soul and realize that if they know the right thing to do, then they do not need to listen to historical precedent or to comparative analysis. They just need to stand up and do what is right until they achieve justice.